Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News, and we've got some lukewarm, I was going to say piping hot, but I don't want to lie to you guys, lukewarm tea. We have an ex's, he said, she said, Blake responding to John and Katie Thurston, John Hersey and Katie Thurston. Did he take her last name? And what they said on their podcast episode they just did with Caitlin Bristow of Off the Vine. It was a good conversation. A lot of people liked what John had to say. John's a great guy. Blake's a great guy. And Katie's a great gal. And we're going to discuss it all with some nuance here. I feel like the cousin or the brother that's like, witnessed a fight, and it's like, all right, everyone come back. Get the bread. We're going to break it. Let's go. We're going to have ice cream sundaes because nobody can stay mad when you're eating ice cream sundaes. Like, oh, this mother effer. Ooh, that's actually kind of good. Pass the caramel. Do you want to put some Jimmy's? We call that Jimmy's in New England. Chocolate sprinkles. Do you want? Okay. So anyway, I'm going to share with you guys at the end of this video what my thoughts are, having spent time with all of them. You know, I try my best in this Bachelor world to stay out of people's business. I really do. I kind of just try to see what information's given to me, make a judgment on it. Not that anybody cares what I think. But in this case, I have hung out for hours with John and Katie and for hours with Blake and Katie. And they're all pretty good people trying the best with the information they have. So my take will be kind of nuanced. In the meantime, I'm going to share what Blake said as his response to the thought that he was sort of capitalizing on the breakup with Katie. We'll get into all of that. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I'm going to be posting a TikTok and a reel later today of me installing my new standing desk. I'm redoing my desk. I have a great desk set up. Standing desk today. Friday comes to treadmill because your boy's got to drop a calorie or two because I might have a wedding date set. It's coming quickly, folks, and I'm going to be talking about that on the Patreon today, patreon.com/Dave Neal, where I'm discussing all the behind the scenes of my wedding planning. And we'll get into all of that. And if you haven't already, find the Dave Neal Show, where I've got non-Bachelor content. I've got another Will Smith video coming out today as we discuss all the fallout of the slap heard round the world. All right, slap your finger on top of that like button, and we'll get into it. Yesterday, we actually made 4 Katie Thurston, John Hersey videos. Look, hey, slow news day. Katie bailed me out big time. The wind was very mild on the Bachelor seas, and Katie just went, and we were able to blow in the direction of some drama. And it was a good episode. So we discussed all that yesterday, and today's going to be Blake's chance to respond. Let's catch you up before I share Blake and what he had to say, and let's just catch you up on the most cutting parts of what John had to say. But again, I feel like when you listen to it, it's not like he's trying to start beef. You have to understand, John's watching or has watched his girlfriend, the person he loves, deal with a lot of turmoil, a lot of accusations of cheating, a lot of accusations of, being in it for the wrong reasons and, all these different things. And, he finally has a chance to talk, and he doesn't talk often on these podcasts. He doesn't do this circuit often. So he said what he said. Now let's have so he accuses Blake of capitalizing on Breakup. Let's listen to this and see if it's as cutting as people say.
Say no, I'm sorry. Was that interview with Blake? I witnessed their whole relationship. I mean, as much as I could have as her friend, like as her best friend. And I watched how much effort she put into that relationship while it was falling apart. And what really pissed me off about that, like listening to that podcast, was when there started to be a narrative get painted that she was putting no effort in and Blake was the only one putting effort into it at the end. Yeah. And furthermore, that in that time where she was absent, that she was somehow emotionally cheating with me. And I'm sitting back and I tried not to say anything for a while, but when that narrative came to be, I was like, I can't stay silent about this because I watched her like suffer at the end of that relationship as her friend before there was anything between us. And it just pissed me off.
And this is one of those things we forget about when we're watching the relationship from afar. All of the things we don't hear about. All the mourning, the loss of a relationship. I mean, if you remember, it ended so quickly to us because in a relationship, for the most part, especially with social media, you put your best foot forward, you share all the good, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, look, there's actually a lot going on behind the scenes you didn't get to see. It's the iceberg, and what's happening below the surface can sometimes be very telling. And of course, Katie wasn't able to figure that out with Blake, and she realized it. And she said in the podcast, I'm not going to play this clip, but she said, look, I could have tried to make this work for a year. I could have tried to extend it for the audience. But isn't the most sincere thing to do is know when it's done and just be done with it? Now, she was supposed to fly out to see Blake in Canada. This was the morning after her show opening for Whitney Cummings. And she didn't go on her flight. They did a phone call. She was like, look, I don't want to put your family through this. I don't want to put you through this. And that might have felt horrible on Blake's end because we're always the star of our own story. So to Blake, he's trying to plan his trip to Africa, which includes all these shots he's probably getting and all the different gear he's organizing and all the sponsorship things that he's working through and all those different things. A lot of times in a relationship, there's one side of the party will think that they got something on lockdown. All right, shoot, we're engaged. Great. All right, let's get ready for Africa. And you start to like not necessarily prioritize the growth of that relationship. Doesn't make Blake a bad guy, but it just shows that Katie didn't have that trip planned metaphorically on her end. She was trying to move to a new town and make friends, and she's a social person, and she just like she didn't have the guy there to experience that life with her. And I'm sure there was a lot else that went on, but you have to look at Blake feeling like he got a raw deal, of course. And of course, Katie feels like he got a raw deal. In most breakups, both sides got a raw deal because emotions become raw. Now, let's just hear the final clip of what John had to say.
I met Blake and we hung out with Blake for, a solid, 12, 18 hours, something like that?
Yeah, I introduced Blake to the people in my life, including John and Stefan, who were a huge part of my life, especially during this whole Bachelorette journey.
And I did not have a negative opinion of Blake at all.
Yeah.
Like we had fun together. We did an escape room and we hung out all day.
Yeah.
But that's why when that happened, I was disappointed at first. And then I realized I was like, this is him capitalizing on this opportunity, which I understand. I get how it works. Like seeing this world now for the past almost a year. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, it just, when it was at the expense of my friend, I couldn't, it was,
okay. So, no, I'm sure if John were to text me right now and I were to ask him, hey, John, would you take back the C word, capitalizing? I'm sure he would rephrase that because we take that link, right, that capitalization, and then we smack it on. John says Blake's capitalizing. Well, Blake did an interview and he was asked about emotional cheating. And that's like that gray area. Well, I don't know if it was emotional cheating. I don't know what it would have been. Since then, Blake has said, in moments where interviewees have tried to get him to throw a dagger at Katie, he said, no, she's a good person. So Blake was pretty raw. I guess in hindsight, it might have been better for him not to speculate on whether or not it was emotional cheating publicly. But he's got his side of the story. And I don't see these words by John being overly aggressive. And I know I'm going to get comments. Oh, Dave, you're playing both sides. This, that. People have been, hey, Dave, are you going to slam John for his words? No, John saw the breakup through a lens of someone watching their friend go through that heartbreak. John didn't see Blake crying to Blake's mom or Blake's brother. John didn't get to see what Blake must have gone through. And John didn't get to see how Blake would have tried to make it work. So he sees it from her side. And it doesn't mean her side is wrong. It just means that's her side. And of course, Blake's side, I'm sure, had to deal with some heartbreak. And we've seen this with other, not that there's any villains in this scenario, but we've seen it with villains, people that have been portrayed on the show in a negative light, how the audience sees them as just going radio silent and not hearing from them. And I personally know of people that have villain edits who go to their dad, go to their mom, go to their close family and spend a week crying and cracking a couple beers and mourning the loss of whatever they wanted to be presented as to the public. We don't get to see that as audience. It exists. The mental sort of gymnastics that goes around learning how to cope with an audience that doesn't necessarily like you for reasons that may be mischaracterized. Blake's a good guy. Let's hear what he has to say. And again, I think the issue here is less John's criticism of Blake and more what the media and what the fan base will do with the words used by each other. If we almost get to a point where there's Bachelor contestants who don't say anything because they know their words are going to be twisted, turned around, bent sideways, and plastered onto a wall with quotes being mischaracterized and this and that. And is that the world we want to live in, or are we going to live in a world where we let people share how they feel? You know what I mean? So here's what Blake had to say.
Can you send me your shoes?
We have a little Q&A. Do you think you'll ever go on a reality show?
Count it down. Can't wait to get on that beach. get back into it.
Bachelor in Paradise.
Probably not.
Okay,
Never say never, but...
Probably not. He says he probably won't go on Bachelor in Paradise.
Not unless it was a great opportunity for something. But I'd like to not.
So stick around for my next video where I'm going to discuss the faux beef between Blake and Noah. And this is Noah's girlfriend, Abigail. And the hand grab heard round the world there. Obviously, there's a fake beef happening. But we'll discuss that in the next video here. But let's just finish off with Blake.
Yes. I thought this was out already. Yes, definitely. I keep it way shorter now.
Shaving the
than
beard?
I ever used to. Remember, it used to be like, I figured we'd get this question.
Here it is.
We're all entitled to our opinions. They haven't spoken anything up to this point. They're allowed to have their opinions and share their side of things. But we all just want this to go away, and so I will not ignite it, and we'll just diffuse it, and it's all good.
All good. So my final thought here, I got the ref hat on, I've already mentioned some of this, is that Blake's taking the road of understanding that they're going to have a differencing of opinion of how it all went down, and he's going to move on, not inflame it. What a Canadian move. Blake, come on, throw us some tea. It's slow time of year. You know what I mean? I got a wedding I got to pay for. Let's go, right? And also, I think John... even if some would disagree with the word capitalizing, I think John, in the end, just wants to stick up for his lady. And I think we can all relate to that. Wanting to stick up for your lady in a situation that isn't as cut and dry as everyone wants to make situations. We want it to be a binary world. You're on left or you're on right. You're on this side, you're on that. Red Sox, Yankees, Dave, Neal, Nick Vial. You want to take one versus the other. Take my side. No, there's no war there, folks. Come on now. I don't fight with other small YouTube channels. That would be petty of me. Some people have commented, Dave, why do you share your numbers so much? Why do you share all these stats? And I think humans are innately drawn to statistics. So when I share my stats, that's when the channel grows. When I started sharing the small donations I was getting for my recap videos, people started donating more. It's just the rule of abundance. So when I started sharing the patreon.com/Dave Neal, a lot of people wanted to join and find out what it's all about. If you don't know what the Patreon's all about, I essentially go to this screen right here and I'll pop open the different things I'm working on, and I'll show you how I make my content, how I make my videos, and we do it in live time. And more often than not, I actually have a lot of input from the audience where I'll be like, all right, what do you think of this? Should I add this file or get rid of it? All right, let's get rid of that, and then like let's pop open the outer glow here. Yeah, let's do this. This will help people see this more and make this, and we do that all the time. It's a ton of fun. So I'll be going live on Patreon at 10 a.m. today. I go live for like 2-3 hours at a time, make a bunch of content, talk to you guys about my stand-up comedy show I had last night. But with my final message as Ref Dave here is that Blake is showing his character by not wanting to live in the past, and John sticking up for his lady. And both of those things are perfectly okay with me. We'll see what you guys have to say. Leave a comment, and we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye, everybody.